And that was a shoot. Yeah, that's full-blown shooting.
Since you want to shoot, cowboy!
And now, the Real Shoot Wrestling Podcast.
All right, Real Shoot Wrestling episode number 21. Hard to believe we can drink now.
Yeah.
So excited.
Hard alcohol. Yeah, I know.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us. We took a week off because, honestly, there was just so much stuff going on. I mean, it was just really hard to digest it all, so yeah, we just took a week off and let things fall where they may. And, man, it's been a very eventful last 2 weeks, hasn't it?
It hasn't stopped.
No, it hasn't.
There's been something going on for everybody and everything at all times.
Where are some of the places you've been the last couple weeks? Because I know you've been to some indie shows. Why don't you talk about those right off the bat?
Well, I went to AIW in Cleveland last Friday. And it was fun. It was eventful. It was different than I thought it was going to be because I thought it was a family-oriented show. Turns out that is not at all what it is. Since the mystery team was the Jollyville Fuckets. And the whole crowd in arena started yelling, "Fuck it."
Wow, nice.
As soon as their music hit. So for somebody that thought that they were going, I mean, it's not like I didn't, do some research on who was going to be there and whatnot, but I mean, it was a mystery. It was a mystery opponent, so I couldn't really do a whole lot. And plus, like, it was, no offense, but I wasn't going there for the opening card or for that match because they had Tommy N there. They had Rowe from War Machine on ROH. I mean, they had a lot of top-tier talent there. And, the mystery team that was about to pop up and make a big return for somebody that hasn't been there before, I have no idea. But luckily there was somebody there in the crowd to explain to me and my buddy that went with us, Logan, hey, these guys haven't been here for like a year and a half, and now they came back, and it's a huge deal, and it was, man, there was some spots in that match that were absolutely insane. I stuff I didn't see coming. The whole show was absolutely amazing. So, honestly, like, it's just so hard to explain like how good the show was, whenever it's people that you don't really know still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Teddy Hart was there. I got to watch Teddy Hart work for about 10 minutes before that situation blew up in everyone's faces because that match got a little real quickly, and so
there was a shoot?
It turned into that pretty quickly.
Huh.
Like even to the point to where Teddy Hart yelled in the middle of the match, "Why does everybody want to shoot nowadays?" Like literally, he yelled that, and then out of nowhere they went and did a move, and he, from what I understand, broke his ankle.
Ouch.
And Mr. Money was there. Mr. Money was chill as could be. That's, do you know what Mr. Money is?
No, I don't.
Well, anybody that knows Teddy Hart will know that Teddy Hart is a cat, like, enthusiast, and just kind of like Natalia. I mean,
right.
He's in the Hart family. But the funny thing here is he raises them. He takes care of them. And he takes Mr. Money with him everywhere. Like, there's even a picture of him at Takeover in Brooklyn trying to give his cat beer.
Wow.
So, you know, that there were people literally paying to take pictures with Corey Hart and his cat. So there's that. Elgin was there. I got to actually hold the IWGP IC title.
Yeah, I saw a
That's
picture of that on the
absolutely-
Instagram.
That's absolutely insane. The match between that Kenny Kingston had, Eddie Kingston, sorry, was absolutely insane and physical. The show was a B. The show was a solid B, maybe an A minus. Way better than I thought it was going to be. And then, how cool is this? Some members of Every Time I Die was in the crowd.
Yeah, I saw a picture with that too.
Yeah, also the guy in front of me was like, "Oh yeah, that's him," and I was like, "Oh my gosh," and because that's where, that's like one of my favorite guitar players, Andy Williams, and he was just there for the wrestling, so I got to meet him, which is really cool, and then Sunday was the amazing show where it was Sami Callihan versus Cody Rhodes in the main event, and Jushin Thunder Liger was there. Donovan Dijak was there, which you need to see him up close before you make comments.
No, like
because he's pretty big.
yeah, like well, I even said like I'm impressed with his physique, but I just think he's still a little green.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I even got to tell you, the main event of Friday was Rowe versus Tommy End, and it was phenomenal. Just, I'm so pumped that NXT picked up Tommy End.
Yeah, that's definitely a good pickup.
That was also Crazy Mary's final show at AIW before she goes to NXT.
So I saw if you guys check out the Instagram page on RSW Podcast, there's some shots from some of those shows. Really,
yeah, I got to meet, touch, bow, and shake hands with literally in my top 5 favorite Jushin Thunder Liger. I cried. I'll be honest.
Yeah. How would you rate
Yeah.
the Cody Rhodes, seeing him on the indie circuit?
You want me to? I'm going to tell you my experience with Cody Rhodes. When you got to the building, there was probably a good half of the card outside. Greeting people, all that. I walked through the building, not through the building, but I walked through the front doors, and literally there was a hand stuck out for me to shake before I even got in the building. And I turn, and it's Cody Rhodes going out of his way to shake my hand, almost like he's thanking every single person that walked through the door. It was an incredibly cool feeling.
That's awesome.
You know, like he wants to know every single fan that came through the door. And then he went into this really cool promo after the show explaining how the person that runs NEW, Northeastern Wrestling, in the in Connecticut up that direction, Mike Lombardi, he actually was the person that got Dusty Rhodes like straightened out with his finances and back on the road and back in the business pretty much. And Cody got really emotional while explaining it, which obviously you'd understand why.
Yeah.
But yeah, he he had that promo, and the owner came out, and everybody cheered, and it was an amazing show. I mean, I went to 2 solid shows this weekend. So if you ever get the opportunity to see AIW or Northeastern Wrestling, please do so. In fact, and I'm letting you know now, AIW's next show is Johnny Gargano's last.
Ah, yes. And that is
So
next month, September.
Well,
Well, it'll be this month once this podcast is released. But
tomorrow.
yes.
But yeah, it's September 23rd.
That's awesome.
So if you can, make sure you grab up your ticket. Well, you don't get to you get your tickets there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's such a cool atmosphere too that the fans there were amazing. Like at both of them, not like WWE. We want to get ourselves over, but like, hey, we're fans of pro wrestling and we want to help this get over. Like we want things to get over, so we're going to allow things to get over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there was a part in the match with Hanson from War Machine on ROH. He's the champion there in Northeastern Wrestling up in Connecticut. They did a abdominal stretch, and literally the good guy, mind you, reached his hand out of the ring, and a ringside like person watching grabbed his hand like cheating, and literally they went all the way around the room. Like I was holding hands with the people beside me, acting like we were a part of the abdominal stretch. Yeah, it got over because people wanted it to get over, and it was really cool to see compared to some of the shows that I go to, and it's just like, entertain me. Oh, this isn't any fun. And, you know, they take themselves out of it before they even allow it to happen to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So more people need to sit back and understand that. Trying to think of what else really.
That'll be cool because, you know, Gargano, that's his hometown, Cleveland. So that'll be a homecoming for him.
Oh, yeah. Another thing. Jimmy Wang Yang. Dude can go.
Yeah.
Dude can go. He is solid. Him and VJ Whitmer had a clinic, if you would. It was awesome. It was literally, you know, hey, here's this bad guy. Hey, here's this good guy. And it was killer.
Was that the guy that John Laurinaitis signed and thought he was signing somebody else?
Who?
Johnny Wang Yang.
No. That was they thought they were hiring Apollo Crews and they got Willie Mack.
Oh. I think there's more than one of those stories though with Laurinaitis, which isn't surprising.
No, not at all. It's Laurinaitis.
All right, so along with the indies, one other thing that we need to talk about was the Ring of Honor show the night before, or the weekend before SummerSlam, with Adam Cole winning the Ring of Honor Championship, and that kind of kicked off.
That's before Dishonor?
Yes, that kind of kicked off the big SummerSlam extravaganza for a lot of people, and I mean, there was a lot of shows that weekend. There was some Evolve shows. What were some highlights from some of the indie shows that you saw that weekend?
For me, it was Adam Cole and Lethal, awesome.
Yeah.
Bobby Fish and Briscoe, awesome. The four-way for the TV number one contender was good. I'm not a huge fan of four-ways, but at the same time, still very good.
Dalton Castle and Omega.
Yeah. Dalton Castle and Omega. You mean Rainmaker?
Yes. Of course.
But that was really good. And then don't forget, on Evolve, you had T.J. Perkins on the first night against Cedric Alexander, which was a killer show. I mean, a killer match. Matt Riddle, I've talked to you before about him. He's the UFC guy.
Yeah.
He had a killer match in the main with Tim Thatcher on that show, and Cody worked Zack Sabre Jr., which was killer. And then the very next day, Evolve had a better card than they did the night before, and they had Hero versus Rhodes. You had an incredible card that day as well. I'm trying to think exactly who it was. You had, like I said, you had Hero versus Rhodes, and what was cool about that is Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, and Cesaro, and Tyler Breeze all came to that show.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you saw that
No,
or
I didn't.
not. And then the show that I know everyone, like, that you watched and everything, so you can talk about it too. We go into Saturday night and you got NXT TakeOver.
Right.
So
Yeah, that was exciting. A lot of people were complaining that it wasn't as good as the year before. I don't see that necessarily. I thought it was a great show, and honestly, that Nakamura entrance alone was just amazing.
But it wasn't glorious.
It wasn't quite glorious, though. Just those two entrances alone were awesome. And as I predicted, the match that would steal the show, not just the show, but the entire weekend, was the Revival versus Gargano and Ciampa, which was just, I mean, even Stone Cold said on his podcast that was the best tag team match he has seen in a long, long time. And that was amazing.
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, the Revival's so good.
They're one of the few teams that can still get heat.
Like old school heat,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, right.
Not they're just wrestlers that you don't like.
Right.
It's not like they went out there and was like, did the cheap heat and was like, oh, shut up, you fat. Mom jokes. They're also not the crazy, brutal, I'm going to murder you type. They're just like, listen, we're going to hurt you. We're going to win our belts, and we're going to go home.
Yeah.
The only thing that the Revival does that I doesn't like is clang those damn belts together.
They're supposed to be heels.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can clang your stuff together.
It's a guy thing.
It'd be totally fine. Like, for me, I thought that the Asuka Bayley match, for what I like, is better than last year's match between Sasha and Bayley. But that's just, it's a personal like thing.
Mm. What did you like better?
What do you mean?
Well, you said you liked it better than last year's women's match. What did you like better about it?
Asuka, and it was physical.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Like, last year's match, awesome, well put together. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, when it comes to Asuka, it's the physicality that she brings that no one else is just touching right now is just overwhelming. With Amber with Ember Moon coming in, it's going to be really, really cool, and she's going to be really physical.
And her finishing move is just breathtaking.
What is it?
Her finishing move, that stunner off the top rope.
Oh, yeah. That's going to... Either that's going to go big, or that's going to hurt a lot of people.
Could be both.
I mean, well, yeah. But, I mean, honestly, with that show, it was killer, and then you have Sunday,
which a lot of people would say was probably one of the worst shows out of all of them, if you really think about it.
But was supposedly set up to be so good that everybody was freaking out. Remember?
Oh, I know. And you know, I didn't quite get the reason why people freaked out, because you had so many good matches. You had Cena versus Styles, that was over 4 stars. You had Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, which wasn't the best match in the world, but the fans did not help that match at all, because they were butthurt over the title.
Which is ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah.
Another thing, but like, wasn't that match supposed to be like, you know, the greatest match of all time? Wasn't, you know, like, to me, that's how people added up. And when I watched it, it was just like, yeah, you know, don't get me wrong, like, it was good. But for me anymore, if I'm expecting good and I get good, I'm happy. But at the same time, it's just like, well, I expected that, you know?
Right.
It's against them. They put on a killer show, but come on. I like the tag match between Enzo and Cass and KO and Jericho, to me, I thought stole the show when it came to match wise. Like, it was just like, okay, these guys don't like each other, they're gonna have a match. Like, Cena and AJ, that's supposed to kill it. That's supposed to take, you know, that's supposed to be the big one. So, you know, the fact that they had an awesome match is what I expect. Good. Awesome. I had no expectations for the tag match, and it turned out to be awesome, and KO is just gold.
Yeah,
and
we'll get to
ahead.
that a little bit later, but one of the biggest newsworthy things from SummerSlam was the finish to the whole show with Randy Orton and I almost said Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, and
how mad you were?
I was mad. I was very mad.
You were.
I went to bed very angry.
I liked it. Not for like, oh, it was cool because he went in there and beat him up. Like, for the pure, I liked it for the pure fact that there's not one person in that building that walked into that situation and was like, you know what? I have a feeling the Brock Randy match is going to end because Brock's going to bust him open and they're just going to call it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you know,
it's almost like more fans nowadays get mad because they got surprised.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, and that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, like, in my life. Like, that's what's supposed to happen. Like, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
You know, and
so
it shouldn't be predictable all the time.
My biggest issue with the ending was just the fact that they are so adamant about anti-concussions, and they do that kind of storyline. It just kind of didn't sit well with me, to be honest.
Okay, all right. I see what you're saying there. I see, but at the same time, it's just if the wellness policy has been a good thing, and it's also been a horrible thing.
Right.
Like, do you think people got hurt as much in concussions nowadays than they did back then?
I think that they're more careful now, just because of the way the science has evolved and testing has been done. So I think we're more sensitive to it anyway.
Yeah, but being sensitive to something isn't a good thing.
Well, I think the whole Chris Benoit thing,
because I'm just so I understand that, but let's look how many have done that, and let's look how many haven't.
right?
The Chris Benoit thing is something that happened, but it's not going to happen to everybody. It doesn't happen to everyone, and it shouldn't affect the business to where you have people going, oh, well, you got all these new guys and they're all fragile and blah, 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 blah. And the people, yeah, you know why? Because back in the day, no one cared if you took steroids. No one cared if you popped a bunch of pills. And as long as you got in the ring and fought every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, but I think some would argue that one time is enough with Benoit. And so they're just going to be more careful, especially since they're a publicly traded company now. I mean, they've just got to be more careful.
But I mean, you have people in the NFL. There's people in the NFL that have killed people with guns. Like, what are you going to do then? Like, what do they do then?
Oh, that's a whole new basket of worms there.
I know, but it's just like it's a sport that has physicality involved.
Right.
Like
but the guns thing happens off the field. The concussion thing is what concerns people because that's on the field, and that's the same with the wrestling ring.
Yeah, but it still has to deal with the fact that anything can be done. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be changing wrestling because of what Chris Benoit did. I mean, I just. It serves no purpose because there isn't another one like Chris Benoit. There wasn't before when it was way worse, and there hasn't been one since.
Well, I don't know if there hasn't been one before. I mean, you might make the argument that Jimmy Snuka might have been just as bad in the 80s, allegedly, but...
No, he wasn't. He was an Islander, and she kept feeding him Coke. I mean, what did you expect out of that?
Yeah, but I just think that this is more of a preventative measure, honestly, because they really don't want this to ever happen again.
I understand, and also to the fact, since we're talking about head injuries, I had it pointed out to me that in Daniel Bryan's last match over the weekend, like, because I had talked to him, just bringing up the whole, WWE after that situation with the Miz and Miz calling him out and everything, them saying, well, we haven't shut the door on Daniel working a match again.
Right.
And my buddy Logan, he just kind of laughed about it, and I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, dude, he literally had a seizure in his last match. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, check this out. His last match was against Sheamus on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And he went into a headbutting spot with Sheamus to the point to where Daniel busted his head open.
Right.
He fell off the apron. He turned to the announcer's table. That's where Wade Barrett was. As soon as he turned towards Wade Barrett, Sheamus turned the ref. Wade Barrett jumped up and hit him with a bullhammer. Well, after that, you look, the camera goes to Daniel. And, of course, the doctor is going to go to Daniel anyway because he busted his head open. But you see Daniel shaking.
Yeah. It's pretty uncomfortable to watch.
It is. And there's different ways to look at it until there's an actual, somebody actually talked to Brian and actually asked him. But it's either, yeah, that's what it was. It was a seizure and that actually happened. Or a person's body just can sometimes just like, you know what, I'm done. And I don't want to be the guy that says something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and give it as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to go out there and I don't want to say cause the seizure on himself, but self-inflict some pain to the point to where doctors start to question things, and people start to question things, and it starts to become noticed by other people to where he doesn't have to look. Because somebody with pride like that, you know, you don't want to say, hey, there's some serious stuff going on, I don't know if I'm going to be able to wrestle yet.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to say that.
And it's debatable whether that was a seizure or not, because, I mean, that could have just been selling, but there's no argument that he had seizures as a result of concussions. I mean, he stated that.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So, yeah, so I don't know about the whole, like, you know, them leaving the door open and them getting, you know, him coming back, you know, since they are the way they are, like you said, about the head injuries. But you know, like I said, I thought it was a really cool ending. It seemed to be planned between Randy and Brock. I don't know how much of it was planned between other people. Jericho took offense to it, obviously, as everybody read.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. And I've tried to tell people before, like, Jericho doesn't care. He'll stand up to anyone. He stood up to Goldberg when they were pulling their crap in WCW. But, yeah, it's a situation right now to where WWE, you know, I mean, and people, and I feel like it should happen, but WWE is really starting to try to blur a lot of the lines, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't know who all was involved and if that was exactly the way that match was supposed to go. Either way, totally, like I said, not expected it at all. Wasn't ready for it and didn't think that was going to happen. But it did. And for that alone, just being so off the wall and so unexpected, that to me, it's not like I enjoyed it. But at the same time, it's an ending that I'm not going to go and be upset about.
And
you know what I mean?
and you'll remember that too.
Oh, you remember it forever.
And really, hopefully the payoff for this will be that Brock is a monster heel again, because I mean, he's got a lot of heat out of this.
Or at least be getting him out of there and let, you know, people that's going to stay for a while become the new monster.
Sure.
And let, you know, like, let's get something out of this. That's kind of how I feel with it.
So you talked about Daniel Bryan. There's been a lot of fallout since SummerSlam, and one of those things was Daniel Bryan talking about, well, not really him talking about his career, but The Miz talking about his career, and how that blew up within the last week, which was just, you were blowing up my phone as that was going on, and I was like half asleep when it was going on, and I was like, dude, what is this?
I know. I was like, dude, are you watching Smack? Because between the people that, you know, are on our pages on Twitter at RSW Podcast and Instagram at RSW Podcast and on Facebook at Real Shoot Wrestling, like, you are one of the people that I know for sure you know watches Smack.
Yeah.
You've advertised for it. I have, because I think it's pretty cool. But you know, I don't know how much of that was off the cuff. I mean, I know a lot of it was probably legit real. Like, the things he said are probably things that he thinks, things that people around him have thought, or something that Daniel gave him to say. You know?
Yeah.
Because and you and me have said this before, Miz is killer.
Oh, yeah.
Miz can really do something good if given the opportunity. And he did.
Yeah, and you could see the frustration there.
Yeah, because, and like I said, I get the frustration, because he has been there for 10 years. He hasn't got hurt, and, you know, he doesn't get the attention. I mean, I'm not saying like he hasn't got what he deserves, because let's think about it here. He was a U.S. champion and tag champion at the same time. He was a world champion. He main evented WrestleMania. He's been an Intercontinental champion 2 or 3 times. Like, he's gotten things that he deserves, but it's now people are taking him as a serious player because of that outburst. And it's about time.
And that rub with Daniel Bryan, I mean, really helps too.
But at the same time, it kind of falls flat with me when this is the same guy that I don't take any time off and I go for my fans. But this is also the guy that took time off to go make horrible movies.
Well, I don't know if that's his call necessarily, but because, I mean, they do look at him as somebody that, I mean, he even said it on SmackDown last night that he's the first person they call when it comes to public relations. So, I mean, it would be the easy thing for the WWE to want to put his face out there even more, and that's why they put him in those movies.
Yeah, and I get it, and he looks good, and like it makes sense. But to go up there and say, "Oh yeah, well I wrestle the way I do because I want to be able to do it every day, and I want to be able to do that," that's literally like having a job and saying you have to get the quantity of 15 things accomplished in a day's work.
Right.
You could do 25. But you just decide to do the minimum to get by. That's pretty much what I get whenever he says, "Well, I wrestle the way I do, and I haven't been injured, and I've been in the ring, and blah blah blah."
But how much of that is him working you?
How much is that him working me? Zero.
You don't
because
think?
let's put the work that the Miz has done, and let's put the work that Daniel's done.
Right, but I think that was him working you, though.
Yeah, but it's him working to this. 10 years for the Fed. Has Daniel Bryan been in the Fed for 10 years? And let's look what he accomplished because of the way he works.
Well, and the biggest reason why I think this was work was because, I mean, these two have been paired together since Bryan's been in the Fed. I mean, The Miz was Bryan's coach in the first season of NXT. And so that's
and people, and it's like people don't understand that or get it. Like, I'm not saying Daniel didn't have a personality, and I'm not saying Daniel didn't have a full gimmick when he came to WWE. But let's face it, there's not a lot of people that's like The Miz, and that's a good thing and a bad thing.
And I think in this case it's a good thing because he's using that heat that he already has to his benefit.
No, but I'm talking about in the very beginning when they came out together.
Okay.
You had Miz that could talk and piss everyone off, but really didn't have the wrestling work ethic that Daniel could. But then you had Daniel that could work circles around almost everyone, but he really didn't. His persona, attitude, gimmick, promos didn't really fit the WWE style.
Gotcha.
Like, he could talk. He did good promos in ROH. He did good promos in PWG, but he didn't have WWE style promos and stuff and such ready. So Miz helped him a lot with that. So this is, I think, a way of Daniel helping Miz. You know what I mean?
Sure.
To the point to where it's like, you know what, you're on my show, you're my IC champion, so
right,
like show me that you should be the IC champion. And I think that's it's just like, hey, I'm here now, so I'm gonna push. I mean, some people said, that Daniel and Miz are friends, and he did it, and even like in that, sort of way, like he's just trying to help his friend get over, so that he took the heat like that. Mm-hmm. But who knows about the whole situation?
Yeah,
it could have been way more. It could have been way more shoot than everybody thinks, and there was a whole conflict afterwards. It could have been all of work. Who knows? And that's what I was saying earlier about the whole, like, they've really been crossing the lines, and I'm not saying that in a bad way recently.
Right. And so,
like, since we're talking about stuff that happened on Talking Smack, how about Carmella attacking Brie all the time? not Brie, but Nikki.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good for Carmella. I'm glad that she has that now, because
giving her own character, not just being, it's the chick with Enzo and Cass
Yeah.
or anything like that. You have people that's going to get behind her because she's doing it to Nikki. But then again, you're also going to have people that, like, Nikki just came off injury, a neck injury at that, and Carmella's out there just up on it. Like, what a bitch, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
But
SmackDown's been
it's
a good
really,
show.
Oh, yeah, and then, because SmackDown doesn't have the pre-show, do they?
I don't know.
I don't think they have a pre-show, but, since Raw has a pre-show, this whole Talking Smack show, has really helped continue SmackDown a little bit to give you, because like you said, everybody's like, well, SmackDown's more wrestling oriented. Yeah, it is. They don't have the stupid interviews. They don't have the stupid people coming out and doing this and doing that. And they kind of save that for Talking Smack, which is nice. So it's like you get to watch the wrestling and then you go to the network and watch the aftermath kind of thing.
Yeah, and the ratings keep going up too for SmackDown, so that's exciting.
They should. Yeah, definitely. For the people out there that like to look at the numbers instead of just watching wrestling.
So there is another show. It's called Monday Night Raw, and it's been sort of a sore spot for me the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But we obviously we need to talk about the main event from this past Monday, which featured Real Shoot Wrestling favorite Kevin Owens, aka Kevin Steen, doing something I never thought in a million years I would see him doing, and that's winning a world title in the WWE.
The Universal title.
Yes.
He's the Universal Champion. He called it years ago.
Yes.
He's a fortune teller.
He is. What was your thoughts when you were watching that, as someone who's followed his career?
I mean, it's easy for me to say that, in a weekend where I went to some amazing wrestling and got to meet Jushin Thunder Liger, like, what an ending to a wrestling weekend like that, than having the person that you have liked from the very beginning. Like, from the, I'm from Canada and I wear a singlet, to, I'm in the Fed and my gimmick is shorts, shirt, and I'm a prize fighter and I beat people up. Like, and now the champion, like, watching it all evolve from the downtown to him getting married and the stuff with Sami Zayn, and then him going to PWG and the stuff with him and Cornette in ROH, and it's just all of it as a whole. It's just like, it's so cool. It really is. And, anybody that's watched wrestling for, their whole life, like, myself and you and people like that, when you see somebody that you followed from the very, very beginning, I don't want to say it's almost like, it's like, a family member just won a title or something, but but you do have that connection to the extent of like, oh man, I feel like my friend just won the belt. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it's just like watching a long-time TV series with a big payoff.
Like Friends.
Yeah, not the best, not the best analogy, but
no way. It's the best analogy.
Are you a Friends mark?
The best. Oh, I enjoy Friends. I can watch Friends every night because, well, I do. I usually go to sleep to it on Nick at Night. But to talk about what you're talking, to continue on what you're saying, Oz, that was on HBO, was that way for me. Like at the end, it was just like, well, what am I going to do now? Like, all my friends on Sunday night aren't going to be here anymore, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was super cool to see KO get that victory, and plus with what I read today, which I know you don't agree with, I know you don't think actually happened, but supposedly the only people that knew the ending to that match was Rollins, Reigns, and Triple H. Stephanie didn't know, Mick didn't know, KO didn't know. The only thing that was understood and was going to happen was was KO was second to lose after Cass, and Rollins was going to lose to Reigns.
Wow. I don't know if that's true or not, but regardless, it was a heck of a finish, and
It was, but let it be known that they do things like that a lot, so people get the real emotion of the situation out of it. I mean, think about how Paul Heyman acted when Brock beat Taker.
oh yeah.
Heyman didn't know. I thought Heyman was going to rip his own face off and eat it.
Yeah, and then when you
You know what I mean?
see those reactions, and then you see that moron from ESPN trying to crap on it, just kind of really irritates you.
See, I don't know, and maybe it's just the way things I was taught and explained to, like that kind of stupidity doesn't bother me
That's
because
middle school stuff.
Because that just makes him look stupid.
Yeah.
And plus, what a way for KO to reply. Like he just wins the Universal title, and he puts up a thing and goes, "I'm exactly where I should be today. I'm with my son. I'm taking my son to his first day of school, and I'm on his lunchbox." Like, how cool is that? So that goof from ESPN, he can just, until his job gets his face on a lunchbox, he can shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, that just the fact that, okay, let's look at it this way. They don't know. KO doesn't know. Mick doesn't know. Stephanie doesn't know. What was the purpose of the situation now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is this literally a Triple H, and I need to come out here now because my guy got hurt? Or was this supposed to or was Triple H coming out a thing that was coming anyway?
Yeah.
And this is just the way that they decided to use it, because it's like, oh, somebody got hurt, oh, let's call the game, let's pull the game in. Like the same thing happened with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins got hurt, and what happened? You got Triple H and Roman Reigns.
So do you think that Triple H and Kevin Owens are going to be like a thing together now, or do you think that this is more just to turn Rollins' face?
I, in fact, don't even think it's to turn Rollins' face, per se, because, I mean, I honestly feel like it's gonna be a situation to where it continues on as, like, they don't know why Triple H was there. Triple H was literally just mad because, Seth didn't hold on to the ball in the first place. Roman never wanted to join, but Roman beat him at Mania and took his belt, so he's mad about that. Stephanie picked Mick over picking her own husband. He's had a very, very well-known rivalry with Mick Foley.
Yeah, that stare down was intense.
His whole career. Yeah, his whole career. So the only person that doesn't have anything to do with the situation in that part of the match is KO. So it could be, something to where they work together and he has my back, I have his kind of thing. Or it could have just been I'm Triple H and I'm mad at Stephanie, or I'm mad at Mick, or I'm mad at Seth because he dropped the ball. Obviously he can be mad at Roman because, there's just that type of anger there between the two. So, that's an obvious. But, like I said to any of the other things, Steph, Mick, Seth, who knows why he did it? Or he could, like I just said, he could come out and be like, I did it for my boy. I did it for Seth, for Kevin Owens,
Did it for Finn Balor.
Yeah. Or for Finn Balor, it's up in the air, but how cool is it going to be when Finn comes back,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he should be due back around Rumble time, too.
it all depends on what they do with the title and who has it when he comes back. But what cooler way than to have Finn come back to, I want title back, and they can even work into the storyline that they did in NXT.
All right, so I'm running out of time here, so we should go to match of the week.
Man, really? We're not even going to mention Bola this weekend?
Well, we can talk about that a little bit.
I mean, all I want to say is it's going to be killer. As soon as it's out on DVD, you should probably buy it. And if I got a little, excuse my puppet reference, but I got a little snacky cake from Bola because one of the very first matches in the Bola tournament this weekend is Cody versus Sammy.
Oh yeah, little preview.
So I know, right? So I got a little taste of it, and if it's anything like that, because I saw this, like I said, this past weekend, I saw Tommy End, he's in it. I saw Sammy, he's in it. I saw Cody, he's in it. I saw Liger, he's in it. And that's just 4 names out of the whole tournament. There's Adam Page involved. There's the Bucks. There's Chris Hero. There's Zack Sabre Jr. This weekend is going to be an amazing weekend. So I don't think, and I don't know why, but I don't think PWG does any type of, live pay-per-view type stuff. So as soon as it's on DVD, which there's usually a month turnaround, you better get your hands on it because it's going to go fast and it's going to be good.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely get your hands on it. ROH announced that they are going to be new titles in ROH. It's a trios title, which, with the way everybody's acting nowadays, makes total sense. They just brought a trios title to New Japan. They've had trio titles in Mexico forever, and with them just signing on with CMLL, it makes sense. And the trios title in Lucha Underground has been a big deal. So not really something I'm exactly pumped for, right. But it's a new belt and it's something else to make worth a crap in ROH. So it's not bad. It's good stuff.
All right, so match of the week. I'm actually not going to do the normal history lesson because there's been so many good matches over the last few weeks, and I have to pick the Revival versus Ciampa and Gargano from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn because honestly that match just as you talked about your expectation level. Mine was really high for that match, and they still exceeded my expectations. It was so good. It felt like an old school match, to be honest. The way that they sold, and the way that the Revival just had that heat was just so good, and that's the reason why it's my match of the week.
Now, before you officially make it your match of the week, what about T.J. Perkins and Johnny Gargano? And that surprise upset by PJ.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they kind of did that with kayfabe with the leg injury from that, so I understand that. But it was a good match, but not exactly as good as the Revival.
Well, match. No, I'm not. I wasn't really, comparing the matches. I'm just saying, like, did you see that coming?
No, I didn't. But I'm glad that they had an actual storyline. Reason.
I'm gonna have to say I think TJ's your winner in this tournament.
Huh.
I don't want it to happen. I can't stand him in all actuality, but I think it's way that was the big surprise.
What's your match of the week?
Oh, man. I haven't even... It's... Sorry, I got the hiccups. I had to get rid of them. I mean...
This is great material here.
I know, right? I had the hiccups, and then I had the burp, and then it's hard for me to pick because of what I witnessed, what's happened in wrestling, the fact that we didn't have a show last week. So you have, matches from, the matches from ROH, the matches from Evolve, all of it. So it's really hard for me to pick, but the fact that I was front row and got to witness Sami Callihan versus Cody Rhodes, I'm going to have to say Sami Callihan and Cody Rhodes.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, and if you guys want to see, like I said, if you want to see some pictures and even some video highlights from that, check out our Instagram, RSW Podcast. There's some good stuff in there.
Also, if you want to actually see the shows that I'm talking about from Friday night, go over to iwawrestling.com, and you can see it there. Also, northeasternwrestling.com, and you can actually pay $10 a month and watch any of the shows that they've ever actually had. The show that I was at and was a part of, the DVD, if you're going to buy it, is $10. So, I'm probably going to buy the DVD, because I was there. I'd like to have it. But, they've had amazing shows with amazing cards for years. So paying $10 probably in that situation, if you can, at least once, twice maybe, you'll get a lot of good wrestling there. So if you want to, or if you want to get ready for the shows that they're getting ready to have, if you'd like to make a trip or something. Like I said, I think the next AWI is September 23rd, and the next NEW show in Bethany, Connecticut is September 9th or 10th, and Ricochet is going to be there.
Nice.
So it's definitely good stuff. If you are a fan of pro wrestling, go check it out.
Wrestler of the week, I think we might actually agree again, because I'm picking Kevin Owens, and there's a lot of guys to pick from the last 2 weeks, but I'm just so happy for the guy, and I really think that this is going to be something to watch with him being the champ.
I can't pick one. I have to either go Liger, Juice and Thunder Liger, or I have to agree with you, like I said, with KO. It's got one of the two. I mean, Liger literally had an amazing match with the guy in Connecticut, but it's the fact that it was Liger, and I got to see him, and I got to. Yeah. I don't want to sound weird, but obviously, if you're a guy and you're wearing a mask in a full body suit, it's going to have. Not even saying it's bad, but it's going to have a scent.
Sure.
And the fact that I could smell him, it was a surreal type situation, since he is from Japan. They don't come over here a lot that much anymore because he's getting old. So that was pretty cool, and obviously just. Because the guy literally won the big one and finally won it. And, and let's be honest, he got the reception that either people were expecting, and it was like, this is awesome, or some people, the doubters of him, were like, whoa, where did this uproar come from out of nowhere? And obvious, and always, like always, there wasn't a lot of bitching about the way it ended, but there was still bitching. Kevin Owens, he doesn't wear gear. Are we still to this point to where it doesn't matter what happens? you're going to bitch
You're never
about
going to make
something,
everyone happy.
you're never. But at the same time, it's like people can be 99% happy, but that 1%, they can't just let it go. They can't just go, you know what? I have a whole lot of good here.
Right.
Nope. They're just, well, he doesn't. That's great. We have a champion. We have a world champion that doesn't have gear. Well, let's look at all the champions right now. You know,
Yeah.
like honestly, let's look at them. You have your tag team champions that come out with glow in the dark dildos on their forehead. You have Charlotte. Yeah, she's Charlotte. I don't know how to really explain that. Like, it's like one day her looks to me are how like certain people think about the transgender bathroom thing. Like, I don't know what she is one day to the next. It's like one day she's gorgeous, one day she looks like, you know,
Ric Flair.
her dad. It's like, you got Rusev, and you know, and he's, who knows what he's doing, but I think, you know, that whole situation's stupid because just the U.S. title shouldn't be around anymore. It's a territory belt, and you have a guy that's not even American holding it for the longest time. And then the IC title, which is actually being made to be something again, which is cool, and and it's been made to be something for a while. It's actually been worth a crap since Cody Rhodes changed it. Thanks for and I literally thanked Cody for that when I saw him and talked to him. Because that was his idea. He went on his own, bought that belt, got it taken care of, like got everything taken care of, and then came to Triple and was like, "Hey, I want to do this."
Nice.
And Triple H was like, "Okay, go ahead." So, thank you, Cody. Also, got to be honest, the fact that he didn't like the mustache gimmick kind of disappointed me because I thought it was hilarious.
It was good.
Yeah, I liked it. It's just, and then Dean Ambrose. The dude wears a wife beater and jeans and combat boots.
He wears Jimmy Wang Yang's gear.
Yeah, literally. He wears Jimmy Wang Yang's gear. He was also wearing the same gear as Luke Harper. Like, come on, guys. Like is Luke Harper like his friend, or is Dean a mystery person in the Wyatt family? Like you're allowed to put gear on these people, and it'll be okay. People won't get upset or freaked out. You know, like obviously, if you would to do that, you'd be the guy. There'd be the guy because they're wrestling fans. They'd be the guy that goes, "Oh, Dean looked better in a wife beater and jeans." You know.
Yeah.
But it's just like, come on, man, find the fun in this because wrestling's fun and it's supposed to be fun. So if you're upset with the way wrestling is right now, maybe wrestling just isn't for you, and you need to stop watching it and go watch, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy and you know, go watch some superheroes and stuff. Because right now, wrestling, from the independents to, you know, the big time might be slacking off some, but it's only because you're not giving the true fans what they want, and that's why the independents are so big right now.
Yeah.
For people to tell me, you know, for people to turn it around and go, well, if the big toms aren't doing well, then the indies aren't doing well. No, that's a lie. That is a lie. That's like telling me that Walmart cleared out all mom and pop shops. That's not true. People still like the mom and pop for the experience. People still like the mom and pop for the making me feel a part of something type atmosphere. And it's almost like the mom and pop wrestlings are... Okay, you have mom and pop wrestlings where there's 500 people, the same 500 people come all the time. You have WWE that travels, and you'll get 1,000 people, but it's 1,000 different people every year, every week, and the people that just watched, the 1,000 that watched the week live before, you've probably got 250 people
Right.
watching this week. I mean, and obviously those numbers are way lower, you know, compared to what it actually is, but that's kind of how it is. You get a following, you get a this is my football team type feel for a lot of these people for these smaller indie shows that are always going to be constant. So, like I said, if you're a fan of wrestling in general, then you should be happy right now.
Definitely. So
If you're not happy with WWE, just watch something else. Don't just stop watching wrestling.
right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Not to end the show on a low note, but I've got to go.
You got to go to sleep.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah, it's about that time. And then, you'll wake up with a foot in your face from the
Probably.
little one.
Probably in about an hour.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
those are the best.
Thank you for joining us. As always, check us out on Twitter, RSW Podcast, on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube. Just about everywhere.
SoundCloud, Twitter,
Yes.
all that fun stuff.
All right. See you next time.
See ya. Wow.